right. So I was thinking about all the crazy things that have become so popular.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of stuff that I don't think people predicted would become so popular without a pandemic, out there.
So, I mean, first and foremost, I think everybody knows how popular Zoom has become. So I think that is my number one thing that has kind of exploded as a result of the pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy too because we've been using Zoom for how long, right? And everyone started using it, and over a sudden, it's like, oh, look, let me post these photos of me and my friends talking on Zoom or having wine on Zoom, or and it's crazy because I mean, for us, it's slowed down a little bit, and there are no HD recording after so many people, so it is. I don't think anyone predicted Zoom would be the option people would go for during this.
Makes me wish I invested in Zoom before.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like the New York City School District was originally using Zoom, which was crazy.
Hmm.
So,
So that's number one. Another thing that exploded was TikTok.
yeah.
So are you noticing that?
Yeah, I mean, I think TikTok was on its way to exploding, and now, 'cause, TikTok is like, it's like anything else. It's like a huge time suck. Like you sit there scrolling through TikTok and you're like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this for an hour and a half, and it's always been, and I think because a lot of people seem to have a lot more time on their hands for some reason that I think
For
a
some
lot.
reason, we're all stuck at home. What do you mean?
Well, we're all stuck at home, but I feel like we have so many projects going on. Like, God, I don't know. I don't know if I have time to make TikTok videos, but with homeschooling and everything else. But yeah, it's definitely exploded. It's definitely exploded, and there's a lot more people. Like people are even now sharing their TikTok videos. I mean, they were always on YouTube, but now I see people sharing TikTok videos on Facebook. So they're
Yeah.
basically making their TikTok video and then sharing it on Facebook too. So it's interesting how it's exploded, not just in the platform, but actually the video piece of it and being shared in other social media platforms, which is actually really interesting. It sort of reminds me of back in the day when when YouTube started being embedded into like MySpace, and then over a sudden took over MySpace. So it's sort of like that same thing where, TikTok's really, the videos are just getting embedded in all the other social platforms. It's pretty crazy.
What's also striking me is the people that are interested in TikTok are people you never would think. It's like random people coming out of the woodwork that are, people you would never think would join TikTok or watch TikTok videos are now watching TikTok
Yeah.
videos.
Yeah, I think it was funny when first, like everything else, they were like, everyone, the original people on TikTok were like, well, now the celebs are on TikTok. Of course they are, because all the people are there. Everyone's there. It's a channel. What do you think? They're not going to use a channel to get exposure,
I'm seeing a lot of people looking at home DIY stuff on TikTok too, which I didn't realize was a thing.
Yeah,
But apparently this is what a lot of
yeah.
people are sharing about all these renovations and DIY projects they want to do now.
Yeah, I think,
And funny animals.
yeah. Well, I think, I mean, originally it started off as like dancing or weird sort of like little, weird clippy videos to music, right? And it's just really expanded into other things. And I think that's why you're also seeing a lot more mass growth on it versus, where originally it was like, teenagers or tweens even, it was like 13, 14-year-olds. And now it's really blown up into, being, people using it for really B2B type stuff, or business type stuff. So.
Yeah. So another thing that I've seen explode is doorstep photography.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, look, I appreciate the pivot. That I do. When you see businesses really trying to, shift and go with the times and the flow, I mean, that's nice. But I don't really need doorstep photography during a pandemic.
No. Well, honestly, what if you have a crappy ass house? I mean,
Hey, neighbors are isolating inside, so you go to their house.
My neighbor's got a trashed out tractor in the side yard that we can take a photo right in front of that, and I grew up in the South, so I don't want to hear it. But yeah, but you get my point. Like, what if it's like you don't have a really picturesque landscape there?
Doorstep photography. Another thing I've seen explode, I mean, Tiger King. I don't know. I don't know. I did not watch it. I don't have any comment or opinion, but I am sick of seeing Tiger King memes.
Yeah, I honestly, I feel like I have not binge watched anything during this
Have you
pandemic.
seen
So,
any of it?
no, I haven't. I haven't binge watched anything. I've seen clips of it, but I haven't seen. I've seen a lot of my friends dress up like people from it, and post on various social accounts. But I don't really know too much about it. I know who Carol Baskin is just because you keep seeing all these things about this, but I didn't watch it. I'm probably the only person in the universe, and I did not binge watch anything, any season of anything during this pandemic so far. So
That's good. I just don't have time. If I didn't have a child, I think I would binge watch everything. But
yeah, no,
I
I got other things I'm working on.
So, I mean, aside from those things, there are some other things that are really coming to light, and I think I'd like to talk about them down the road, maybe in another video. But virtual things, classes and
Yeah.
courses and all kinds of things that weren't really virtual. Don't you go to jujitsu, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I see people are teaching art classes,
Yeah.
kids art classes.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think teaching has gone really down the road of being an online thing because, everyone, and I mean teaching, not like educational, well, it's all educational teaching, but not like school, like grade school. I'm not even talking about that. That's a whole other,
Right.
thing we could talk about. But, you see people teaching painting classes. Like you said, I go to jujitsu online, which is, it's fun. And, I know we want to talk about that a little bit later, but there's a lot of online teaching where really you only saw things like masterclass previously. Now you have a lot of people just sort of going up, hey, I'm gonna go teach on this. So
What am I missing? What else have you seen explode?
drive-through fast food restaurants.
Oh, yes.
It's interesting. I mean, I don't know where most people are in the country because, restaurants have closed down and, people are they can only cook so many things. And, it's interesting too, because you see the lines at like the McDonald's over here and like Taco Bell, they're like mobbed, and it's interesting too, because I know even like when there was like a downturn at, what was it, like 2009, I could be wrong on the year, but McDonald's actually saw like something like a 4% increase, and don't quote me on the numbers here, but like a 4% increase on sales because incomes went down, right? Because of that sort of like, I don't know if it was a recession, but that dip in the economy. And so, you could feed people, cheaply, right? And now it's like, those are the only things open where you could get takeout, where it's sort of, even though you want to support sometimes those local restaurants in your neighborhood, it is hard. But those fast food, like sit down restaurants, but those fast food restaurants were geared for it from the beginning. Like they were in the right place at the right time for this. And what's crazy is you're seeing that, and especially as you're seeing, unfortunately, like all these people that have lost their jobs over the last few weeks, you're going to see those things skyrocket, and
I waited online 25 minutes at a Taco Bell last week. And not because I even like Taco Bell, but because there was nothing open, and all these restaurants. Another thing tied to this that I've been seeing is people eating in their cars, because a lot of the local restaurants were offering curbside. So people would get their food and eat in the car. So you walking down the street and there's a line of cars outside the restaurant and everybody's eating in their car.
But the cars are spaced,
Right.
a spot apart because they can't be within 6 feet of each other with the window down.
But on this particular night, I couldn't even get a restaurant. A pizza was going to take me an hour and a half, So I went to 20 minutes on the Taco Bell line.
Yeah, same here. We ordered pizza. I forgot what night it was. And they were like, an hour wait, is that okay? It was like, yeah, I really don't have much of a
man.
I don't have much of a choice here. So yeah, it's an hour wait, I guess you guys are going to have to eat some Oreos before we get pizza, and just get that pandemic nutrients in, but what's interesting too, along that line, I guess it's sort of in the same token, they were showing that actually things like hot dogs and like those type of, like pre-made things have actually gone up too in sales, because we're previously, before the pandemic, everyone was trying to eat healthier, cook clean. And now people are like, no, I'm just going to eat hot dogs. It's easy. If I got to cook it myself, I'm making me some hot dogs on the grill and call it a day. And it's interesting too, because things like that, like I think it was Oscar Myers who released, like their sales went up because of the pandemic. So it's interesting. I mean, I mean, are we done with food before we move on?
Actually, I was going to say beer delivery.
Beer delivery.
There is, there are a lot of places that are, a lot of people on Facebook are asking, do you know any beer delivery that's open now?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean,
well, out here where I am, most of the beer distributors are open, and most of them do deliver, but you got to order quite a bit of beer.
Bars, like some craft places, or like you can go and pick up beer right outside and drink outside, or they'll deliver, like food delivery.
There was one, and they were doing it out of the goodness of the heart. There was one, I think it was like a moonshine, like they make moonshine type, drinks. I forgot what they make, but they were actually making hand sanitizer with some of the alcohol from their process. But they were giving away, anyone that walked in, whether they were buying product or not, they were giving away hand sanitizer. But they were hoping people would come in the store to get some free hand sanitizer, and buy some moonshine or whatever they were making. I can't remember what it was, and I wish I could, because I'd give them a shout out, because it was really cool. And the community was donating like aloe and things like that so they could make the hand sanitizer. But it was pretty cool. And if I do remember it, we'll post a link in this or something like that for them.
So what else were you gonna say?
So the other thing is, okay, medical supplies, right? Did anyone really, for personal use, did anyone really expect that you would not be able to get any type of gloves or mask, or I can't even get,
masks, okay, but okay. Band-aids, I'm seeing no Band-aids, no, there's nothing.
Yeah, remember how I was telling you?
I never knew that that coronavirus required bandages.
Or let's talk about toilet paper. How is that going to stop it? But but I mean, here's the thing, right? I wounded my thumb when I was building that playset for my daughters the other day, and the doctor's like, hey, soak it in peroxide every day.
Good luck.
There's no peroxide. Like, where am I getting peroxide from? And I had like this much in the, in the bottle, like maybe like this much. So I'm like sticking it in like the smallest container I have. So just my thumb fits in the container. So I'm not wasting peroxide. I mean, what does peroxide cost? Like $1.50 a bottle. And I can't even get peroxide. So, and it's sad at the same time, because not that, like whatever I have, I have this wound in my finger that needs to be washed out. But imagine people that have real serious problems and they're not able to get some of the stuff they need because people are hoarding it for like, I don't know if I ever expected that, I guess, is sort of what's shocking on it. So
I think another thing that I've seen explode, people staying up past midnight to grab delivery slots because you can't get a time slot. So everybody's just up waiting until midnight to see if they can get a slot, which is hit or miss. And
speaking of, so the other thing that exploded is sleeping in.
Yeah.
Who is not sleeping in? Who is not sleeping in? I'm like, okay, every time it's like, every time when you talk to, I just woke up. People who were getting up at like 5 o'clock in the morning now getting up at 9. I mean, sleeping in and staying up late is probably another thing that's really, really changed. I mean, I've always been like that, but
Yeah, well, it's not. You're not alone. I mean, I was talking to one of our clients who's having the same trouble with their child, and a lot of people I know, their kids. A lot of kids are now staying up later, but still waking up early. That seems to be the trend. I don't know why this is exploding. Why can't they just sleep later if they're going to bed later? But
so now I wonder, and I haven't done any research, but I'm sure office supplies for home, office supplies and schooling has to have exploded, right? I mean, I know I've ordered ink since this has started probably about 3 times, and it's not even for work, right? It's because I'm printing out all these worksheets for the the girls to do their work on. So I'm printing out all these sheets they need, because not everything's online, right? For them. So there's a lot of things that need to be printed out and they need to do on paper still. So I mean, I have to imagine like HP and anyone that's producing paper or ink or home office supplies,
electronics.
Electronics too.
On the hunt for new laptops now that they know that they're in this situation.
Yeah.
Another thing. Okay, do we have to wear masks when we drive alone?
Yeah, I don't know.
I
Yeah,
just wonder sometimes.
yeah, it is bizarre when you see people driving mask when they're
Maybe they're
alone.
afraid to take it off. I'm not
I don't, well, here's the
sure.
thing I know. Like sometimes if I'm going out somewhere, I'll put it like if I'm driving somewhere short, right? Like say to the post office, it's 2 miles from my house, right? I'll put the mask on when I get in the car because I keep mine in the car so I don't forget it, right? So I'll keep it in the car. I'll put it on and then drive to the post office because I don't want to touch stuff in my car and then touch the mask necessarily, right? So even though I'm cleaning down my car, as crazy as that sounds every time I'm getting in and out, but sometimes you put it on, I guess, short term, like the in betweens. But yeah, I can't imagine driving from like
Everybody's driving with their masks
right.
on.
Like, well, I mean, I can't imagine like driving from New York to California wearing a mask
All
for
right,
the 3 straight days, right? But I don't
exactly.
know. But you do see a lot of people. I think the most bizarre thing is when you see people with the mask with their nose exposed or it's like on their chin. Like, why? Why? What is the purpose? Okay, I know by state law, or I don't know if it's national now, but I know by state law you're required to wear the mask, but on your chin, I don't think that really qualifies.
I will get away with this one way or another.
Right, the mask is on my face. So, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting to
So
say.
those are pretty much the things that I've seen explode. Some
Yeah,
of them are just weird,
yeah,
but yeah.
yeah, and maybe the most perplexing one is Tiger King, but hey, who knows?
All right. So if you think of anything else, let us know. What other weird shit have you seen explode?